small cars have always been sensible and economical. But because they're light and nimble, they don't need heaps of power to be fun as well. The Swift is one of those cars that has always delivered that fun quotient. But there's a new kid on the block, the Hyundai Grand i10 Nios. It's promising more. Can it be more exciting than that? Let's find out. Both the Swift and the Nios prove that bargains don't really have to be boring. But for me personally though, it's the Swift with that lovely nice curvaceous shoulder line and this large grille that gives it a nice hunkered down stance that is the sportier of the two.
The Swift also sports all LED lighting, projector headlamps and 15-inch alloy wheels. The sides and the rear are nice and clean designs, with the highlights being the C-shaped LED tail lamps. The Nios may promise more, but when you take a look at the dimensions, it's still the Swift that can boast of the slightly larger numbers.
The Nios is no slouch in the looks department either. Those sharp lines and angles give its rather flat sides quite a bit of character. And one of the highlights is those nice DRLs on either side of that grille.
The Nios also gets LED lighting with projector headlamps, but adds in projector fog lamps as well. And there's also these roof rails that further enhance the dimensions of the Nios. At the rear, there's a large chrome accent on the edge of the boot lid and a large Nios badge under the Hyundai logo.
While it's the Swift that impresses on the outside, it's the Nios that impresses on the inside. And its little details, like this hexagonal pattern on the door trim and on the dashboard, larger windows and this more airier interior that gives you a more premium experience than in the darker colored Swift. The driving position is also very nice and city-centric, so you're sitting a little higher up than in the Swift and you have nice visibility all around. Moving to the seats themselves, they're nicely contoured and quite firm in cushioning, which I personally like. But both the front seats don't have adjustable headrests. The other things we like are the nice tactile feel to all the buttons and controls. And the touchscreen also comes with physical buttons, and that helps adjusting things while on the move. And the wireless charging is also a nice touch and a first in the segment.
The rear seats in the Nios may not be as accommodating of 3 than the Swift, but for 2 occupants, it's a better experience. There's better knee, head and foot room and rear AC vents as well. The seats themselves are better contoured and offer better under-thigh support. Visibility is also much better for rear passengers than in the Swift, with the smaller fixed headrests, larger windows and lighter cabin keeping things nice and airy.
Yes, the all-black interiors of the Swift may not be quite as uplifting as the Nios, but there's a nice driver focus to most of everything that's in here. The flat bottom steering, low seating position, and even the touchscreen and these dials are slightly tilted in towards the driver. The seats themselves are a little soft in cushioning, but there's nice support both on the seat base and on the seat back here, so you're not getting tossed about when you're going through corners. Both the front and the rear seats have adjustable headrests, but I have an issue with how large they are. And with the rear 2 headrests up, visibility really is cut through the IRVM.
While you could fit 3 abreast better in the Swift, it's not quite as plush an experience in the rear seats. While it does sport similar practical features, stepping from the Nios into the Swift, you instantly feel hemmed in with the darker colors and lack of visibility. Where the Swift does excel though is in its boot space, and though it's only 8 liters more than the Nios, its depth allows it to swallow luggage better, and the 60-40 split further aids practicality.
Hyundai seem to have been listening to all of our feedback, and cars like the Venue and now the Nios have really nice steering feel. It's not super light like they used to be, and in the city they're still easy to drive, but on the highway, it's nicely weighted now. And while they have managed to fix that, it's still lacking a little in feeling, so you can't really tell how much grip you have at the front wheels. But at least this is a step in the right direction. When it comes to the petrol engine under the hood, the Nios is no slouch. Both in the city and on the highway, there's plenty of punch. But it's only when you put pedal to the metal that it starts to fall a little short. Like the Swift, the gear ratios are widely spaced and rather tall, and that's to eke out as much efficiency as it can from that 1.2 petrol. But what we don't like so much is the gear shift. The throws are rather long and it's a little notchy. When it comes to dynamics, the Nios remains friendly. It doesn't turn in quite as sharp as the Swift, but it's more than adequate. And it also manages to keep roll nicely in check. At city speeds, it handles speed breakers and smaller bumps really well. But over larger bumps, it does tend to bottom out, and it also takes time to settle as well. On the highway, it's very similar in ride to the Swift. The only thing is that it's just a little quieter in this cabin. Pull away, and the first thing that strikes you is that rev-happy nature of that engine. And that's when all those bits, the flat bottom steering, the low seating, and the way the controls are tilted towards the driver, all those driver focus elements start to make sense. And if you pick a corner and turn in is nice and sharp. Yes, this can be a really nice fun car. And there's a nice duality to that engine too. So at more sedate speeds in the city, you can just pick a gear and stay in it. It is really that tractable. Come into the gearbox and it shifts nice and snappy with shorter throws than the Nios. And like most gearboxes today, it's geared fairly tall. And that's because Maruti's A game is mileage. This one gives 22 kilometers per liter on the highway. Yes, it's a petrol. The Swift offers great all-round ride quality. And that means most bumps are handled in a composed manner. The suspension setup is a little stiffer, and that means you get just a little bit more movement in the cabin than in the Nios. When it comes to safety, both cars offer similar kit. So there's 2 airbags, ABS and EBD, and parking sensors as standard. The Swift does additionally offer ISOFIX child seat mounts though. For the younger and the young at heart buyer, the Swift is still that quintessential go-to car. That's exciting to drive and economical too. The Nios, on the other hand, is offering you more, both in terms of cabin experience and that feel-good factor. In fact, it really feels like families would enjoy spending time in it. When it comes to a choice between both of them, it really is a win-win situation. But when it comes to putting butterflies in your stomach and a smile on your face, it's the Swift that's still top dog.